We mentioned before the show the influence of China. China hadn't been discussed too much. You mentioned it earlier with Kamala and when she was Attorney General and the influence and how she brushed that under the rug. Tell us their impact in this election, maybe that some people aren't talking about. I believe you broke a story called Service Central about Tim Walz. Tell us about that.
Yeah, that's right. It makes sense that California is highly susceptible to Chinese influence. It's the closest state. It has a huge population in San Francisco, which is where Kamala Harris was the district attorney, and then she became the attorney general of that state. There's a huge Chinese population in California and a lot of influence operations going on there. What doesn't make as much sense is the state of Minnesota. I mean, it's in the middle of the country, way up north where it's cold. Why is there such a Chinese presence, Chinese influence operation presence? CCP, these aren't, dissidents who fled the communist country and are now here living out their American dream. I mean, there are many of people like that, and we welcome those people. But in Minnesota, we have found some really shocking stuff. There are these things called overseas Chinese service centers. Some people have dubbed them secret police stations. There's the FBI actually busted one of these things in New York City not too long ago. And the one in New York City its purpose was to surveil and harass and possibly even disappear these good dissident Chinese, the people who have fled the communist country to come to America to make a better life. Well, the CCP doesn't like that. And they don't like when Chinese Americans post negative things about the Chinese Communist Party. There was actually a University of Minnesota student who went back to visit his family. And when he was there, he was arrested because he had posted some memes on social media of Xi Jinping looking like Winnie the Pooh. I mean, that is how strict the Chinese Communist Party is against any sort of criticism from Chinese Americans. Well, this overseas service center in Minneapolis, Minnesota, it's in the Twin Cities. It's between Minneapolis and St. Paul. We found directors of this thing totally loyal to the Chinese Communist Party, CCP operatives. It's filled with them. I mean, you'd be stunned at the number of organizations that are loyal to China operating out of Minnesota. One of these guys, he donated to Tim Walz's campaigns. He has been seen in multiple photos with Tim Walz. He's affiliated with the entities who have hired Tim Walz to be the keynote speaker at their events. And then here's the kicker. These organizations are getting Minnesota taxpayer grants from the Tim Walz government. Over $200,000 we have seen of Minnesota money going to Chinese cutouts and front organizations for the Communist Party.